Hi, I'm Dr. Cassandra Wertz, and I'm an internal medicine physician at First Primary Care, and I'm excited to be talking about COVID vaccines today and the most asked questions about COVID vaccines. Disclaimer, this information is current as of February 5th, and we all know that information changes very quickly about COVID. And as a matter of fact, there's new vaccines that are coming and trials that are being released as of this week. I didn't include any of that because it's too new, but maybe there will be a part 2 to this video series. There are currently 2 vaccines available. The first is the Pfizer vaccine, which is a 2-part series separated by 21 days. This is most commonly available at larger institutions just because of its storage requirements. The second vaccine is the Moderna vaccine, which is 2-shot series. It's more commonly available, but not commonly available quite yet. Well, we're all familiar with a lot of different vaccines, and they all work in different ways. There's live virus vaccines where you get a little snidbit of a live virus like shingles vaccine or the chickenpox vaccines, for instance. And then there's little pieces of dead virus or inactivated virus like the flu vaccine. These are mRNA vaccines. So let's talk about the mRNA vaccines. And I think we got to talk a little bit about how the immune system works and the vaccine works to understand it so you can make a good decision for yourself and for your family. So let's talk about a few of the cells in the immune system and how they work in terms of how this mRNA vaccine is going to work. And it all starts with one cell called the macrophage, and he's my favorite cell in the immune system. And he's lovingly called the garbage truck of the immune system. And he literally goes strolling around through the body looking for anything that's left behind, looking for any debris, whatever he can find, and he chomps it up. And then he puts it into some of the machinery of his cell, and then he puts it on the outside of his body, and he goes to show his friends, who are a little smarter than he is, admittedly, and then they tell him whether it's good or bad, and whether he can keep it or whether it's got to be destroyed. So when you go to your vaccine appointment and a friendly nurse injects the vaccine, the macrophage is going to be doing his job and strolling around, and he's going to find that mRNA, and he's going to gobble it up, and then he's going to pass it along inside his cell to the ribosome. The ribosome is kind of like a computer that reads the mRNA, and mRNA is always transcribed or changed into a protein. And what the mRNA in the COVID vaccine becomes is the spike protein. And we've all seen about 1,000 images of the coronavirus. And I'm sure we could all recognize it, but just as a reminder, this is what a coronavirus looks like. I personally think he's quite cute. He's terrible, but he's cute. And this guy over here is even cuter. He's got a little party hat on. I'm sure he's going somewhere delightful with 100 or 1,000 of his friends, probably to some crowded indoor space. And that's why we shouldn't go to crowded indoor spaces. That's where COVID thrives. But looking at this guy over here, you see all these red, pokey, cactus-looking things. Those projections are the spike proteins, and it's important to the coronavirus because that's how it attaches to our cells, and that's how it gets inside of our cells and infects us. And that's what we're trying to use to let our immune cells recognize the coronavirus and fight off the coronavirus. So when the macrophage picks up that mRNA and turns it into a spike protein and then puts it on the outside of his cell, he runs off to find his friends, B cell and T cell. Hey B, hey T, look what I found. And he's super excited, right? Because he thinks it's cool. When he shows up to B and T, they are not impressed. They're like, man, what is that thing? Where did you find it? It's not ours, it doesn't belong here. And B and T devise a plan to form an antibody so that next time it shows up, it's gone, we're not letting it in, it doesn't belong here. And that's essentially how, in a very nice storybook way, your body creates an immune response so that before you get COVID, you beat COVID. And that's what we want, right? As the vaccines start rolling out to the public, there's no end in sight to these questions. Visit firstprimarycare.com to find a doctor you can easily connect with via text, phone, or in person.